And also there's a breach of rules there in terms of there's rules about how you have to keep those accounts, which is, even though, yes, they're paying you fees, if you're not recording those fees as being paid and sending them through the tax system and so forth, that's an entire separate offence, even if the work gets done. If I did the work to the best of my ability, if I was paid $50 in cash, I did exactly what my client told me, and I put the money in my pocket and walked away, I've still committed an offence. Because that money needs to be registered on the books of your firm and then go through to the Law Society. I know, not always easy to hear, I know, but the reason why we're giving you the scope of this problem is because we do need to impress upon you the seriousness of dealing with not just the current issue, but these future issues, because they will become very big very fast if we don't deal with them. Okay?
Yeah.
So what we might now do is perhaps talk a bit more about the sort of the personal problems and this lifestyle, because to a large extent it seems like that's perhaps the root of the problem to a large degree. And obviously this is something that's absolutely your choice, but perhaps my colleague could talk about the options regarding that.
First, we just need to know, do you consider your drug use a problem?
It's becoming a problem, yeah.
Is it something you'd like to change?
No, not if I don't have to, no.
Okay. Would you be willing to change if that would help your situation?
If it would keep my practice, yes. But I don't see how I'm going to keep my practice and change. I don't see how that would work.
Okay.
All right, in regards to that, the reality is, and I'm sorry we're sort of been giving you some quite sort of hard answers, the reality is that taking drugs while you're practicing as a lawyer, well, taking drugs in general, but certainly while you're practicing as a lawyer, dealing with clients and certainly using clients' money for it, is ultimately only going to ever lead to trouble. And in terms of if your ultimate desire is to keep your practice, then that's certainly, unfortunately, not going to be the way to go about that.
In terms of, you already told us that people have been making complaints, so I think you're aware that this isn't a problem that goes away immediately. More complaints will occur. One of those might well get to the Law Society. Mm-hmm. So I'm impressing upon you that change is perhaps the way that we can find the best answers that there are available. Mm-hmm. And in respect of that, we have absolutely brilliant services in terms of drug counselling that we would recommend. And it's not an unusual thing at all for someone in a high-pressure job to have issues with drugs and then to go through drug counselling. So while obviously you are worried about your practice, you're not the first person to be in this situation. And there are certainly really great services out there, so you would never be doing this alone. Would you be interested in finding some more information about those?
Well, what I'm interested in more is making sure I don't get prosecuted. I mean, would it help?
Yes, absolutely. It wouldn't help in preventing the absolute prosecution, but it's about the way you're presented as a person to the police and to judges. And it's not just about, we can't find the magic answer to prevent prosecution in all cases because we can't predict the future. But we can say that if prosecution ever occurs, we will present the absolute best case. And that includes you realising a problem and helping to fix that problem. When the Law Society sees that or judges see that, they have in the past considered that to be a good thing and have taken that into consideration when considering penalties. Okay? So what we might do is when we leave today, I'm going to give you some numbers of drug counselling. I'm going to see if you're able to call those. I might also call you in a couple of days to see how you go with that, because I know it's very hard the first time you make that call. So I can help you with that process if you want the help.
So at this point what we might do, because is get you to, if you're interested in having us represent you through these issues, is to get you to sign a contract in regards to representation so that we can go forward. And if any more information comes to light in regards to this photograph and what's actually going to happen to it, then obviously we'll be there to perhaps provide you with more sort of fuller advice in terms of going forward with it.
Okay, well, money's a bit of an issue with paying for representation, because as I said, I've tended to spend it as soon as it's come in.
Okay. In that case, we'll be giving you the details of legal aid and how that works. Obviously, as a lawyer, you've probably had a lot of legal aid clients.
Yeah, what about the disciplinary committee, though? I mean, is there any chance that you would represent me in that, because I'm a member of the profession, without a fee?
That would have to be a decision would be made later by the partners, but at the disciplinary committee, because it's still a tribunal and board, legal aid will cover that as well.
Oh, all right.
So it's probably not as many clients of yours go to the disciplinary committee, they're more in the courts. Legal aid is available for both of those instances, so we'll give you the information with that, with our fees. Basically from here, the three things that are really important to us is first of all that photograph. And the options we've given you there is we've told you we would like you to recuse yourself if possible, and we can help with that. If you continue to act, realise that you are in breach of the rules and that that's a very serious issue. With the second issue with the accounts, what we'd like to do going forward, if you decide to retain us, and perhaps we'd pause here for a second, is that a decision you'd like to make?
I think you're going to have to let me think about that.
Okay, that's fine. If you do decide to retain our services, what we'll be doing in regards to your accounts is we need to get all the information we can. We need to gather the account books, what's happened with them, and we can get our forensic accountants in to help and figure out what money's gone where, because all of that process helps make things easier down the track.
And finally, in regards to the personal lifestyle, as my colleague said, we'll be able to provide you with a list of possible people who can help you. And again, that's very much your choice, and that's something that fundamentally needs to be your choice. But we can provide you with some more information about that.
The basic thing we need to leave you with, and it's never a pleasant thing to leave a client with, is this situation won't disappear. Even if the photo is destroyed, we do believe strongly that these sorts of things could continue to come up with your practice. And while I know retaining your practice is the most important thing to you, taking a break from your practice and then starting it up again later is a better option than never being able to do that again. And that's why we're talking about these steps about the future and trying to make things better now while we can. And obviously, as we said before with the legal aid, this is not our first case with the disciplinary tribunal, so if you do decide to have us represent you, it is an area we have a lot of expertise in.
What do you think of the idea of me representing myself?
We don't. You're certainly allowed to do that, but obviously you came here because you wanted more advice.
And we generally we recommend that people do have representation for them. So obviously we find that people who represent themselves don't tend to be as successful, and obviously we're able to approach the situation a bit more dispassionately, and we would still represent you to the very best of our ability.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming in today.
Did you have any final questions before we finish?
No.
Just remember, if you have questions, you just give us a call on those and we can answer those questions for you.
Okay.